So, the IMDb top 100 films list. Shall we do the final 10 films? Roll the titles. Hi guys, I am Mr. Scotty Pie and I am back for another video. As I said in the intro, this is the IMDb top 100 films. If this is your first episode, basically every week I look at 10 films in the list, talk about my views on them, a little bit about my thoughts on the position on the list, or if I have never seen the film or heard of the film, I read a bit about what the film is and talk about it from there. I've not seen this list, so my reactions are my genuine reactions to this list and their positions. I have my laptop open just here and we're just going through it there. So before we jump into that, if you do enjoy this video, please feel free to hit that like button any time during the video. You can even do it now and let's just assume that you enjoyed the video. And also, if you do enjoy this content, I also do movie reviews, trailer reactions, general movie talk, and our weekly movie news. If that does sound like your sort of thing, please do go and hit that subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me. So, let's jump into the IMDb top 100 films. This is number 10, and that is Fight Club. Fight Club is a favourite of mine. It's obviously Brad Pitt, Edward Norton. It's a really clever film. It's obviously an actiony film, so obviously it takes basically let's start from the beginning. Edward Norton is in a weird place in himself. He's kind of lost in his own world, doesn't know what to do, looking for direction, and that's when he meets Brad Pitt's character, and who's this like rebel without a cause, let's just do it and think about the consequences later kind of person. And it's exactly what Edward Norton's character was looking for, because he can become free-spirited, he can drop all the he can drop all the pressures of life, of work and expectation, lose all that with this person, end up starting their own fight club. And then twists and turns go from there. It's an absolutely fantastic film, fantastically acted. The twists are amazing and incredible. The characters are really well done. As I said, the storyline goes into all these different places that you don't expect from a film. From the first 10 minutes of the film, you think you know what this film is, but half an hour in the film it's something else, and an hour later it's something else, and it's brilliant for that. Number 10 in this list, I don't think I'd put number 10, but I think I definitely would put it in my top 20 personally. But as I said, I would have done it quite high on this list. I think it's a fantastic film. What do you think? Should this be high on this list, low on this list? Is this the right spot? Do let me know in the comments below. Number 9 on this list is Inception, the Christopher Nolan film, which stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Ellen Page, Tom Hardy, Cillian Murphy, Michael Caine. It's a ridiculous cast listing, and it's Christopher Nolan doing one of his being basically at the top of his game. It obviously tells a story, basically Inception, a dream within a dream, and when you're in this dream, Leonardo DiCaprio's character can implant thoughts and ideas, or not do that. Basically, he can take thoughts and ideas, and someone hires him to put an idea in, and to basically ask his rival to break down his own company and basically stop being his rival company. And then obviously it's an action film, so there's lots of action. Obviously there's twists and turns. It's Christopher Nolan, so it looks grand, it sounds fantastic, it's brilliant. I love this film. I think it's one of Chris Nolan's best films. I did do a Chris Nolan film breakdown, and this was very high on this list for me personally. Do I think it's a 9th best film of all time? Not at all. Not at all. I would stick this in top 30, I'd say, maybe. Top 9. I think this is much too high, and I'm a huge fan of this film. that is just my opinion though. I'd love to know what your opinion on this is. Please do let me know in the comments below. Number 8 on this list is 12 Angry Men. I've not actually seen this film before, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to read the IMDb description of this film, which is: a jury holdout attempts to prevent a miscarriage of justice by forcing his colleagues to reconsider the evidence. So obviously this is a courtroom drama. Stars Henry Fonda. I'm not sure of the rest of the cast or the director on this. I'm sure they're legendary actors, but I've just not heard of them personally. I have heard of this film, definitely. I know its legendary status. Obviously I know it's a play. I've seen it advertised in the West End quite often. So I know this is what I'm doing to see. But yeah, as I know of its legendary status, I can see why it's on this list, by how much I've heard of it. But I've not seen it. Have you seen it though? What do you think of it? Do you think it should be number 8 on this list of the IMDb's top 100 films? Do you think it should be lower? Let me know in the comments below. Number 7 on this list is the Steven Spielberg classic Schindler's List. This is another film I've not seen. I know I've had options to see because it's on Netflix and things like that. But obviously I know it's such a heavy duty film. You've got to be in the mood for it. And I went for a stage of watching films like this, and I got into like The Pianist and basically films of that calibre where it's quite heavy on your heart. I've not been in a mood for a heavy on the heart film for a while now. I've been enjoying classic films, but ones that are enjoyable, just and easy to watch. But this has not been on my list to watch. It's on my list to watch, but I'm not in the mood for, because I know to really appreciate it, I need to be in the mood for it. So I'm just going to read the description out, because I said I've not seen it. In German occupied Poland during World War II, industrialist Oskar Schindler gradually becomes concerned for his Jewish workforce after witnessing their persecution by the Nazis. As I said, I knew it was going to be a heavy film. So I was Liam Neeson, Ralph Fiennes, Ben Kingsley. So obviously astonishing cast. One I do plan to watch, and I will watch. But as I said, I know it's going to be such a heavy film. This one I'm waiting for them in the mood for, so I can enjoy it properly and really get everything out of it that needs to be taken out. So let's jump into number 6, which is the Tarantino film. You can probably guess it. Pulp Fiction. John Travolta, Uma Thurman, Samuel Jackson, Bruce Willis. Incredible cast. I have seen this film. It obviously tells a story. It tells a few different stories. It's a bit of a hard one to describe what this one's about, in my opinion. I am going to read the description for this one because, one, it's been about 10 years since I watched this film, and 2, it tells a few different stories. So it's the lives of two mob hitmen, which is John Travolta and Samuel Jackson's character, a boxer, gangster, and his wife, and a pair of diner bandits, intertwined into 4 tales of violence and redemption. So as I said, it tells a few stories. It's really well done. Obviously, the Travolta and Samuel Jackson scenes are the ones that are always parodied and copied, and even if you've not seen the film, you know the scenes, or at least some of the screenshots of their guns going down. You've probably seen it. Fantastic film, really enjoyable. Not personally, not my favourite Tarantino films. I prefer his later films, which are like Django and Inglourious Bastards and things like that. I prefer those from personally. I think the storytelling is much more concise and straight to the point, and I kind of prefer that. But don't wrong, I really enjoy Pulp Fiction, and one I do go back to, but just not as regularly. So personally, I wouldn't put this so high on my list. I'd put this a lot lower, maybe in the top 50. I know a lot of people disagree with that. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but that's just on my personal list. But number 6, I do think is much too high. What do you think? Do you believe it should be right up there, or are you like me and you prefer when Tarantino has more concise storytelling like he does nowadays? Do let me know in the comments. I would love to know. So, the top 5. And we're starting off with The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. If you watched the last episode, we did the other 2. Lord of the Rings films. It was Two Towers, and then Fellowship of the Ring, I believe, was number 11. Well, in my opinion, other than the complete opposite way around, my favourite is Two Towers, then it's Fellowship of the Ring, and my least favourite is Return of the King. I think Return of the King, it has its minuses. I think it's a brilliant, brilliant film. I love this trilogy to absolute bits. But there's some parts of it I'm like, it's alright. There's some bits I think obviously are a masterpiece, but some bits I'm like, yeah, it's alright. Not as good as some of the other films in my opinion. So the fact that they've got the other way around, that shocks me. I think Lord of the Rings, I don't think any Lord of the Rings should be top 5 greatest films of all time. Two Towers, I'll probably stick in my top 10, maybe around closer 10 to 15, yes, but none of them should be top 5 in my opinion. And Return of the King, as I say, is my least favourite of the 3. I mean, they are very, very close. I do love all 3 of them to absolute bits. It's my favourite trilogy of films of all time, I'd say, 100%. But that's just my opinion though. Do you agree with the order that Return of the King is the best Lord of the Rings film, Fellowship is middle, and Two Towers is the least? Do you think that, what do you think about Lord of the Rings, Return of the King being the top 5 rated film of all time on IMDb? What do you feel about that? I would love to know. I would generally love to know. So, number 4 on this list is a film I do think is a masterpiece, and that is The Godfather Part 2. Phenomenal film. Obviously, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Robert Duvall, Diane Keaton, Marlon Brando's in this one. This one tells more of the story of what's his name? Vito Corleone. I forgot his name completely then. Which is played by Robert De Niro. And it has more of his story of coming to America and the making of his mobster lifestyle, while Marlon Brando's version, when he's much older, he's in hospital fighting for his life. It's a phenomenally told story. It's shot beautifully. I said in the previous episode when he had Goodfellas that I thought Goodfellas is you're jumping on point for gangster films, but once you've done that and you want to see what can happen if you make a truly perfect gangster film, I would say Godfather 1 and 2. The third one is enjoyable, but not a scratch on the first 2. So yeah, 4, yeah, 100% I agree. I love the Godfather films. I think they're masterpieces of cinema. I really agree with that. So let's jump into the top 3. Yes, we are on it after 10 episodes. You're on the top 3. So number 3 is The Dark Knight, the Batman film. So Christopher Nolan has 2 in the top 10. So fair play to him there. The Dark Knight, when I did my top 10 Christopher Nolan films of all time, Dark Knight was my absolute number 1 favourite top pick. I adore this film to absolute bits. I think it's a masterpiece of a superhero film. I am a huge, huge fan of superhero movies. So to see a superhero film not just in the top 10, but in the top 3 is amazing. Obviously, this is Heath Ledger, plays a Joker in this one. Christian Bale's Batman. Aaron Eckhart is Two-Face. Michael Caine is Alfred. So it's a phenomenal cast. A lot of the usual heavy hitters with Christopher Nolan films. A lot of them come back, such as Michael Caine's, pretty much all of them. Phenomenal film. Do I think it's top 3? Probably not. For me, it would be top 10. Close to top 5, I'd say, but top 3, maybe not, but probably just missing it for me. I say I do love this film to bits. I think it's a phenomenal film. And I know a lot of people would put it in their top 3, because I know a lot of people my generation or younger, this is the first film where a lot of interesting themes got put on big cinema, because it was like terrorism, action, bit of comedy, bit of romance in there. It was everything, and he told it so dark and so well. So I'd love to know. And you can usually judge people's generation. If you're a bit older and you've obviously grew up with the golden and silver age of cinema, you might not respect what this was for my generation. But people in my generation probably would agree this should be a top 3, or as me, a top 5 to 10 film. So do let me know in the comments, what do you think about this film being the top 3? Because I think when you think about these kind of lists, modern films kind of get missed out a bit, because people think older films are better and new films can't put a scratch on it, but that isn't true. And I think this list, because it's so varied, really shows that. So let's jump into number 2, which is The Godfather, the first one. So Godfather 1 and 2 in the top 5 of all time. I can't argue with that. Number 2, I can't argue with that. I think The Godfather is a masterpiece of a film. I think it's brilliant. I think I think number 2 is better than number 1. I think I enjoyed number 2 more, but number 1 is just under. Like, number 1's there, number 2's there, I'd say. I really love it. Obviously, this is more focused on Marlon Brando's character as Victor Corleone. Obviously, this one has James Caan in it as well, as along with Al Pacino and Diane Keaton. Phenomenal story. Obviously, it tells a story of this gangster family running things in America. Phenomenal film. As a beautifully shot, Marlon Brando knocks out the ballpark. I said, this is one of his later films in life, and yet this is the film he'd always been remembered for. And he was in phenomenal films back in the day. So it shows the impact this film had. So The Godfather, I'm not going to talk too much about The Godfather because obviously I talked a lot about it in part 2, like a few films ago. So Godfather at number 2. I agree with that position. What about you? So let's jump into the last one. So we've done it. 10 episodes, probably a couple of hours long. We're finally at the final one position. And number 1 is A Shawshank Redemption. If you have watched any of my episodes before on top favourite films, you'll know my ultimate favourite film of all time is The Shawshank Redemption. So this being at number 1 is, yeah, I'm all in. I'm all in. I couldn't agree more. Tim Robbins, Morgan Freeman, William Sadler. Yeah, I love this film. It tells a story of Tim Robbins' character, Andy Dufresne, who's arrested for the murder of his wife and his wife's lover. Basically serving time in prison, meets up with Red, who is played by Morgan Freeman, and he kind of just tells a story of time in prison. And it's a story of friendship, of love, of determination, and it's a story of life in general. And it's very well paced. It's a very slow paced film, but it's so well paced that it feels like you're living this life with them, and it's so beautifully done. It's beautifully shot, it's beautifully told. It's such a beautiful and perfect film. Perfect is the right word for this film. Perfect. I love this film beyond measure. I think it's such a great film. But that is just my opinion. I do agree number 1 should be A Shawshank Redemption. I'm so glad to see it is. But what do you think? What is your number 1 pick? What's your favourite film of all time? What do you think is the best film of all time? Put it in the comments. I genuinely want to know what that is. I'd be really interested to know. So that's the list. That's all 10 episodes of the top 100 IMDb films. We made it. It took us 10 weeks. We got here. So next week I will be looking to start a new series. So if you've got any ideas of what I do, again, drop it in the comments below. I would love some ideas on what to do for next series, because I have absolutely no idea at the moment. But yeah, anything you want to speak about, pop it in the comments. I do respond to all comments. Let's start a conversation down there. If you did enjoy this video, please do hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, I do trailer reactions, movie reviews, general movie talk, and of course a weekly movie news. If that does sound like your sort of thing, please do hit that subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me. I hope you have a good day. I hope I get to see you again sometime soon. I am Mr. Scotty Pie, and I am out of here.